Under Plum Lake by Lionel Davidson. 2. A Face I Couldn't See. Posiel, Cornwall, August 4th. I'll give the facts. I'll give all my details. I'm Barry Gordon. I'm 13. I have 2 sisters, Sarah aged 17 and Annie 9. This house we're on is on a cliff. It's a wreck, really. We came here for the first time last year. Dad rented it then, but he's buying it now. It is cheap because no one wants it. It's only for summers. He is putting in electricity in a bathroom. Last year it just had oil lamps and a cooker that worked on coal. Actually, it's great. The walls are crooked because the ground is sunk. I have the attic, and that's crooked too. It's all pretty terrific, and the only blot on the scene is Annie. So I'll start with her. She's skinny and small, a fantastic liar. She tells tales and gets people into trouble. They say she's imaginative, and they're right. She imagines so many things she scares herself. She won't go to bed without a nightlight. Any scare story that is going, she is first to hear it. Last year, in Seal, she was first to hear of the village that fell into the sea. Seal is a fishing village across the bay. The people there are idiots. They believe anything. They say the village that fell into the sea was ours. They say it fell in the sea because it was cursed. There is no village here. There was once supposed to be one where the line of rocks stands out in the bay. They say the people there were wreckers who attacked ships and robbed them, but no one ever discovered where they hid the stuff they stole. The crazy people believe the villagers are still at the bottom of the sea and that their ghosts come up and put lights out and haunt places. They believe if you sail past the rocks on Sunday, you hear church bells ringing underwater. It's true their boats won't go near the place. The people won't even come this side of the bay by land. When Annie heard of the ghosts coming up and haunting, she wouldn't go to bed even with a nightlight. She wouldn't go unless Sarah went with her. Just then, she was being such a fantastic pest most of the day I was stuck with her. Everywhere I went, she went. I couldn't go to the beach without her. Our beach here is the best for miles. It's a narrower inlet with cliffs on both sides. Where the cliffs meet the back, where the rock crumbles and the slopes, is where you get down. Last year, the weather was so hot that my mother and Sarah came down and swam some days. Mainly I was stuck with Annie, though. She wouldn't swim out in the bay. She wouldn't let me go alone either, so I waited one day till my mother and Sarah came, and I went. The cliffs on both sides stretch out a long way, but the one at our side goes farthest. I couldn't see the west face of it from Seal. This was the face I wanted to see. I'd better say now. I get ideas on holiday. Usually I get the idea I'm going to find something about a place that no one has found yet. The idea I had this time was that I would find where the wreckers had hid their stuff. I thought they hid it in the cliff. It looks dopey now. I've put it. I can see that. Anyway, that was the one I had. It was a long swim, so I took it easy and rested a few times and finally turned the corner of the cliff, and there was the west face. Right away, I saw it was a monster. A giant wall of rock rose sheer from the sea. Just above the water level were 3 caves. As I drew closer, I saw they were some way above the sea level. They were 10 feet above. I trod water and looked up. I could see there was no way up without a rope. There were no footholds, just razor edges of rock. The tide was coming in, but it wouldn't come in much more. I was too near the sharp rocks, so I backed off. I knew I mustn't stay long. The tide would be turning, and I couldn't swim back against it. I stayed a bit longer, though. The caves were in a line, dark ovals about my own height. I thought I could see something in one of them. The sun was in my eyes, and the oval mouths shadowed. I knew there couldn't be anything useful there. Anything useful would have been taken ages ago, except just then I thought of something else. The people of Seal wouldn't come near this place. No one would risk a boat near the rocks either. It might be that I was the only person for years to get this close. The sea had developed a slow kind of heave as if the tide were on the turn. So I went then. I didn't rest on the way back. I rounded the cliff and struck out strongly for the shore. I saw my mother and Sarah and Annie standing at the water's edge, looking out to sea. They began waving as they saw me. Even before I hit the beach, I heard my mother shouting, "You bad boy, where did you go?" Round the cliff for a swim, I said. You are right out of sight. Never let me see you do that again. Do you hear what I'm saying? Yeah, okay, I said. I meant I heard what she was saying. She didn't want to see me do it again. Next day, I made sure she didn't. And that is where we will stop.